Man, what's up, brother?
Nothing much. What's happening?
How you doing?
I'm very
Oh,
well.
nothing
You went with
much.
the
Can you hear me?
AirPods too. Yeah, I got you. I went. So today
Yeah, man. Hey,
I've done about 15 of these on IG Live, and today's the first day I'm trying with the
wow.
AirPods to see if the audio's better.
Yeah, no, it always sounds better for me. So I had
Yeah,
to make sure I charged them up a little bit. One of them, usually always goes out, but how you doing though,
yeah.
man?
I'm good, over here in Australia. So I'm in Brisbane, which is the third largest city in Australia,
Okay.
and it's about 2 million people. But yesterday the government allowed people to do non-essential shopping.
Okay. How's that going? Is there a lot of people out there?
Well, some of my players just hit me up and they're like, yo, the lines are crazy. Like just to get into
Hmm.
Kmart,
Wow.
you know?
Hmm.
So Australia, I don't know if you've been following, but Australia and New Zealand basically have done the best job in the world at containing it. So this
Yeah,
week in
I've
Queensland, we
noticed that because
basically
it's
had like
interesting.
10 new cases in total.
Wow. How's everything from all the fires? How you guys were you close in that region?
No, so the fires were way down south. That was down near more like in
Okay.
between Sydney and Melbourne. And that was devastating, man. That crushed that part of the world. Patty Mills came
Mm.
for those people that have to have gone through the bushfire and on
Yeah.
top of this, man, that's devastating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely, um, I remember hearing about it and then just actually seeing it too. I could only imagine what that was like.
So where are you right now, Tim?
I'm in Dallas, Texas. I live in North
That's your
Dallas.
home?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so this has always been home. I moved a lot growing up as a kid, but
Yep.
the Dallas, Texas has always been a home and a great home to be at, especially in the basketball world. So
Yeah. My father played a couple of seasons back in the day with the Cowboys.
really,
And yeah, yeah.
what year was that?
Man, he went to the Super Bowl with the Cowboys in 1970, Super Bowl five.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's throwback right there. Yeah, I'm a huge
That's
Cowboys
original.
fan. Yep.
So we had a few talks, and so my starting guard in high school with me and very close friend of mine is Jason Garrett.
Really. Oh man. So you seen some of my tweets in the past?
No, I just checked out Twitter today. No, I didn't. I hope you
Yeah.
weren't killing Jason.
Man, look, Jason's a great guy, and everybody that knows me knows that I've been hashtagging Fire Garrett since probably like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
But it ain't so much of him. He's a great guy, great coach. I just think
Yep.
history's past. I've had to deal with Dave Campo uh, during that era. Parcells came after that, but we're diehard out here, man. I bleed
I
blue,
know.
so it's different.
So I used when I was living in LA, I would come out and visit Jason probably, yeah, every year I would come out when he
Okay.
was head coach. And my college roommate actually lives in Dallas also. He lives up in he lives in, is it Allen?
Yep, Allen, Texas. That's
He
about
lives up that
20
way.
20 minutes. Yeah, I live pretty close to there.
Yeah, so it was rough. It was rough watching Jason. Man, you know how it is. You know enough high profile people that you develop relationships with, and I've known Jason for 40 years.
Wow.
So, when you see things, when you see people saying stuff, and there is an air of truth. I got to be realistic about it. Did he achieve what he wanted to as a coach? No. You
Hmm.
know, are there areas that he could improve upon? For sure. That's just life as a coach. And especially in Dallas, when you don't get the prize, you're under a lot of scrutiny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's somebody got to take the blame. Especially in Dallas. I mean, it's like that for the New York Knicks. You know, I mean, when you're in
Mm,
that type of market and there's expectations every year, I mean, you're gonna
yeah,
get criticized even if you win. I mean, it's always something. So I just think I know for me, I am a huge football fan,
Yeah.
Basketball is a little different because I'm in that space. I work in that space.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cowboys is we're gonna win the Super Bowl, man, next year, hopefully.
Well, sorry, but I switched over. I'm a Giants fan now. I'm a
Oh
Giants
man,
fan. I had to. That's
nah,
where my
you
man
couldn't.
went.
Nah, I feel you on that. I'm not worried about them right now though. I'm worried about the Eagles.
The
So,
Eagle. Hey, yo, did you see that picture of Saquon's quads the other day?
mm-mm.
Yo, this dude is stacked, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
He
man,
is. He's something else physically.
he's a good running back, but I don't know. He ain't past Zeke yet though. Zeke is he's a different breed, man.
And I see that the Cowboys signed Andy Dalton
I didn't know that. Is that
just
today?
now. Just now.
Well, there you go. I told you, man. We going to the Super Bowl. That's
Stop
a
it.
big pickup. Hey, that's a
Why?
great pickup. I did not
Why?
know that. You just made my night. Thank you.
What Andy Dalton? He ain't gonna do nothing for it. He ain't gonna do nothing.
Hey, look, the man's
What?
been to playoff. He's been to the playoffs. He's been to the playoffs. So I mean, it's hard for any quarterback. He's a respectable quarterback,
He is.
no question. You know what I mean? So I mean, Jason was like that now.
Yeah.
Jason was a good
Good.
backup for Troy Aikman. Smart, very intelligent. You know, he became a great offensive coordinator and became a head coach.
And sometimes you
So,
got to bring in dudes that can build your locker room and just build
hmm
sensibility and give you some maturity. And Andy Dalton seemed like all of that.
yeah, he's definitely a leader. So I'm glad that's news to me.
Mm.
But that's big time.
So you went to college at New Mexico, played there.
Yeah. Well, I went to New Mexico Junior College first. I played
Yep.
JUCO and was supposed to be going to New Mexico. However, I didn't get to finish my career because I blew out my ankle after my sophomore year playing in a little hoop it up tournament. So I don't know if
Really?
you remember the 3-on-3
Yeah.
tournaments back then, but yeah. So I broke my ankle, and I just decided that I wasn't going to the NBA, so I wanted to get into coaching very early, and that's what I did.
Yo, but how bad did you do your ankle? Like that's rare to hear somebody just say, "Look, my ankle blew out so bad I can't go no more."
Yeah, it wasn't like a Grant Hill type of situation, but it was like
Yeah.
my first injury that I've had that was severe
Right.
like that. That kind of put me in a cast, and you know when you injured and you're not playing, you start thinking differently. Your whole perspective because you on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And so I used to really be more intrigued with how the game was being taught in practice. And so I was like, man, you know, I think I'm starting to see some things. I think I could have a career in this at some point.
Wow.
So my goal was instead of me trying to play into my 30s, get into coaching and become one of the youngest coaches. And so
Okay.
that's what I wanted to do.
And you did that too, because when you got into the what's the league called? The EYBL?
Yeah, I was the youngest head coach in the country
How
as a
old were you
seven.
then?
Uh, when was that? About 4 years ago. I was like 28, 29.
Wow.
Yeah, so 17 U coach for Mo Williams.
Wow.
We had two McDonald's all no, one McDonald All American, and then one kid went one and done, Zaire Smith.
Yep.
So he plays for the Philadelphia 76ers. He was with that group, but
Yep.
mhm.
So who are some of the biggest clients? Throw some names out there that you worked with.
Man, it's just a wide range, and um, you know, definitely people have seen the Trey Young videos and
Yep.
Jawan Evans and some of these other players, PJ Washington.
Yep.
But yeah, it's been a wide range. A lot of great players, good high school, middle school kids, even. You know,
Yep. And how long did you work with Trey Young for? When did you first start with him?
um, Trey was I think going into his junior year of high school
Wow.
in Norman.
Okay.
But you know, Trey's had other great trainers that work with him, Irv Rowland, you know,
Right.
Alex Basel, and so same thing with his dad. His dad was a great point guard at Texas Tech.
Yep.
So, you know,
So
his
how
dad did a phenomenal job with him.
so how does that work with with you being in Dallas, do you have a setup there in Dallas? You have your own gym, or how does that do?
No, I'm mobile. You know, I travel a
Okay.
lot throughout the NBA season. Um, and so me having a permanent gym, it just hasn't been in the plans uh,
Yeah.
these last few years.
Yeah.
But maybe something down the line, you know, definitely looking to get my own facility at some point.
So I do the same thing. You know, we're in the same business. I do the same thing here in Southeast Queensland, and
Hmm.
that's one of the things. It's like, can you get your own kind of Mamba Sports Academy? You know, that would make life obvious a lot easier. Obviously, there's other risk involved, but you know, I think that's everybody's goal is to have their own complex. You know.
Yeah, and you know, there's other things that I want to do outside of basketball, and that's something that I've really tried to pursue as of late. You know, just getting more
Yeah.
into the film business. You know, trying to definitely create some more documentaries. We've already, me and my man Thomas Biggers,
Yeah.
have made a few documentaries, and so just traveling, man, working with good people, but you know, documenting it and creating and telling stories. That's something I've definitely been working on.
So the Beautiful Struggle was the name of the first one you did.
Yeah, so that's the name of the production company.
Mm-hmm.
So the Beautiful Struggle essentially is we've also turned it into a clothing line. So we
Yep.
sell merchandise and stuff, but everybody has a story, right?
Mm.
Even yourself. And so
Yeah.
I think it's just more about the message. You know, we want more people to be more open about their testimony, you
Right.
know. And so we created a documentary on Jawan Evans, who it was kind of like a Hoop Dreams documentary where we just filmed from the time we met throughout him winning a state championship in high school, going to the McDonald's All American game, the
Wow.
behind the scenes of all that, and then making it to the NBA, which is in part two. So there's two
Right.
separate documentaries.
So how many years of footage is that?
At that time, it was 5 years. By the time
Wow.
we, yeah, so, and that was just a two-man crew, me and my man Thomas Biggers, and we had a few other people help out, you know, with the audio and stuff. But yeah, man,
So essentially, anytime you and Jawan hook up, it's shot.
yep. At that time, and that was, you know, I've been talking about it a lot more earlier,
Yep.
as of late, about my homelessness and just
Yep.
my hardships. But right when I met Jawan was when I was kind of overcoming some of that. So
Wow.
it's a parallel story. Jawan was on his come up, and so was I. So we just documented everything.
So how did you find yourself, Tim, in that position where you were basically out on the streets and that like, look, everybody's had, you know, I lived in LA for a
Hmm.
long time, and LA has the worst homelessness situation in the world. And I know that feeling, and everybody at some point experiences some type of fake homelessness where like you break up with a girlfriend or you get kicked out the house or something like that. But that's not the level that you experienced. You were legit out there.
Yeah, I was definitely out there, and it's not like, you know, I'm not by no means. There's a lot of people that have experienced homelessness on a whole nother level, and you know, I've had my own personal family members, and I'm not gonna say any names, but just my
Right.
have dealt with that even growing up in these and as of recently, in my personal family, and so um, I wasn't on the street like that all the time, you know, but for a period of that point in my life, I made a lot of bad decisions, like I had mentioned,
Right.
poor choices. You know what I mean? Being more so defiant in ways, you know, not really knowing which way I want to go in life. I was stressed out, you know, with my son was just born, not really being able to provide. But ultimately, it did come down to my decisions, and that those were
Okay.
my consequences. So
Okay.
going from motel to motel, I do remember vividly. There was weeks at a time I'd stay in the back seat of my car, and it was a difficult time. But how I overcame it, like I had said before, is just, man, a lot of visualization, a lot of prayer.
And really, we're not talking about that long ago. We're talking about what, 10 years ago, 10, 12
Let's
years
see,
ago?
2020. Yeah, so it happened between about 2012 and going into 2014. You know, by the
Wow.
2014 to going into 2015, I was on my friend's couch. He had a little love seat, and I was staying on the couch for
So,
almost a year and a
oh,
half.
that recent, only 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, this ain't like I'm still dealing with stuff. Like people may think that I'm this and that. I'm just extremely blessed. You know what I mean? And I've learned from my mistakes. Um, I'm been trying to get better as a father. Like I'm still in that mix where just like everybody else. I'm just trying to figure it out, man. I'm just blessed.
So what, man, I've got so many questions to ask now. What prompted you to make the change? I mean, was it a mental health thing where you were able to bounce back and seek therapy, or there are a lot of different reasons why a person can find himself in that space where he's lost, no fixed address, all that type of stuff. What motivated you to get it right? Because it's easy to continue on and go the wrong way.
Right. Well, I'm just thankful and I'm very grateful for being surrounded by good people. You hear that expression about um, people come into your life for a lifetime, a reason, or a season, or something like
Yes.
that. And I've really went through that, and I still go through it. We all do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of good people have helped me. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not one of those guys that say I'm self-made. I don't believe in that. We all
Mm.
have had help along the way. And to me, I want to get to a point in life where I can pay those people back.
It's the no fixed address thing. I went through a similar thing, probably in maybe 2013, where I was just mentally I wasn't right. Mentally
Hmm.
I wasn't right. I had been I'd been uh, not willing to address
Right.
some factors that were going on in my life that were actually masked by years of playing as a professional athlete. That
Hmm.
I had some real underlying mental health issues. But when you're in that routine, it's easy for pro athletes to not address it because you're
Right.
always told where to be. You're always told what to do. You're told for how long you're going to do it.
Right.
You take the emotional ups and downs as part of the business,
Hmm.
right? When in fact there's something worse going on deep down inside. And it took me, man, till I was probably, let's see, 6 years ago to address it and actually go get help. And that's what kind of stimulated the change in my life. But in
Right.
2013, I was doing same. I was actually supposed to be living in Los Angeles, but I was actually going hotel to hotel in Vegas, just wandering, trying to find my way, not sure what I wanted to do next. And like you said, it did
Right.
take some people helping me out along the way. And having gone through that, I think that's made me better at what I do as a coach because I realize it's more than just the basketball game. It's about helping these people be better and be stronger and giving them a positive experience every time they interact with me.
Right. Well, I mean, when you go through hardships like you've experienced, and we all
Yeah.
do, we all go through this transformation, right? And we get onto the other side of the fence, and we meet good people that help shape a new perspective for us. We start thinking things differently. We talk through it. Talking is
Yeah.
therapy. But even for myself, I've had to seek therapy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to try to get to the root of my own personal problems, the things that I struggle with, my own devils. Those are things that I do need to address, and it's a daily thing. It's
Mm.
never ending, and that's the thing that I'm learning is that that's you being human. Is you're gonna always struggle with something, but hiding it, like you said, masking it, and not addressing it, that's not the healthy thing to do. The best thing is to remove your ego and take accountability and actually address it.
It's funny because like hearing you, and I wonder if it's the same for you, hearing you talk about it, it conjures up those emotions of places where, I'm grateful that I'm not at anymore, and places that, there's a real fear because when you go through those things, you realize how precarious it all is and how quickly you could be right back there.
Fact. Yep. And that's I don't think, we all had some type of childhood trauma, right? Everybody, it's very seldom I'll meet somebody that just had a fantastic childhood. So it starts there. And as we progress into our adulthood, we still make excuses for our childhood. And I'm not saying it's not valid. Like, there are some valid excuses to act the way you act from your child. I'm not discrediting that. But at some point, moving forward, you do have to have that come to Jesus talk with yourself and really try to figure out which direction do you want to go. How's the rest of your story going to look like,
Yeah. So you come out of that. How did you come out of it? What was the big move where you're like, okay, I'm going forward. I'm going to start pursuing some real stuff here instead of just messing around and not addressing issues. I'm gonna make a positive move now. When did that occur?
I think definitely having my son around. I wanted to make sure that I did set the bar high. I wanted to make sure that I want him to view me as like a somebody. And it's not even about becoming like famous or anything like that, or even rich. My thing is about accomplishing things to at least let him see me work hard. You know what I mean? Understand that you got to go out here and you got to earn it. So just seizing opportunities, just stuff like that, man. It's funny when you get into momentum in life and you start, you know what I'm saying? And you start figuring things out and things just start clicking for you in business. You're like, man, you start generating confidence, and that's what happened.
It's, I like to refer to it, one of the spiritual kind of teachers that I listen to, she refers to it as a vortex.
Yep.
And when you're in that vortex, when you're in that vibe, that's where you should make your decisions. But once you're in there, you will feel that energy and all those thoughts and ideas that you had, they will start to manifest. And that's when you really got it going on. And it's a great place to be in. Like, I know I'm there now, coming into COVID, man, you probably lost all your ability to do you lost your purpose. I lost my purpose on a daily basis.
Yeah. And I think can you hear me?
I got you.
My thing just went dead. I'm sorry about that.
It's all right. I got you.
I was actually just talking about that with a friend of mine. We was talking about purpose.
Yeah.
And so essentially, basketball is definitely a huge part of my life, but it doesn't define my purpose. I use it as a tool, definitely. But since this has been one of the greatest blessings I've ever received, from a standpoint with this coronavirus, to be able to slow down and to rethink. Now, it's very unfortunate because of what's happening to the world with a lot of sad news with the deaths and stuff. That's tragic. But this has given people time to really reflect and think about their purpose.
And, this is why I rebooted this podcast. So I had the podcast in audio format several years ago, but my basketball business got so busy that I had to give up the podcast stuff. But as soon as I wasn't allowed to get on the court, I was like, I got to find a purpose. I got to find something that I'm passionate about. I've got to find something where I can provide a service to people. And it doesn't matter if I reach 100 people or 10,000 people from episode to episode. It doesn't matter. It's getting ideas out there and giving myself something to look forward to on a daily basis. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's the biggest thing, man. It's just, look, every day, I read a comment earlier.
Yeah.
Mr. Patton said, every day we wake up is an opportunity that God has given us to be better. And that's what it's about. Like, it's about growth. And everybody is not immune to it. You're going to go through hard times. You're going to have great times. Just like as a player, you're going to have good games. You're going to have bad games.
Yep.
What you going to do? Stop playing? You're going to get back in the gym. You're going to work harder. You're going to work it through. If you're in a shooting slump, you got to work through that.
So one of the things you talked about was decisions. How do you coach decision making in life and in basketball? You know, being an individual trainer, do you visualize and create scenarios for them, or do you just try and I've got to take mine out too?
Yeah. See, they dying quick, man. I thought mine would.
Mine just slip out too
but
much.
not. Yeah.
Go ahead, decision making.
Yeah. So, it's a combination of things, and I know you attest to this. Being a coach, you have to have a lot of off court talks about life, about developing good habits off the court, because the reality is, if you want to develop in the game of basketball, you have to develop in life. It just goes hand to hand. Your habits off the court will trickleate and find a way to get onto the court at some point. So teaching them how to just make their bed, that's something big. I'm on, because if you got to commit to the little things. If you can't make your bed at home in your room every morning, if you can't commit to that, you can't commit to me trying to teach you something. And then, if I'm only working with you once a week, I need to hold you accountable. I need to be able to trust you, that I know that when we're not in the gym together, you still going to go into the gym and work on what I need you to work on.
Yeah.
So it's the little things. And so the decision-making process, it takes time. You have to have patience on both ends. You know what I mean? As a coach and as a player. But there's a lot of different methods, man.
Yeah.
I'm big on books. I'll recommend kids reading books, or NBA players even.
So what age group, what's your youngest age group? What age group do you start with players?
Any age. My son is 9. I've trained 5, 6, 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
A little bit before all this Corona stuff. So I just love people that are interested in getting better.
Yeah. So how many athletes would you see per week? How many bodies do you work?
Man, I couldn't even tell you, to be honest. It varies.
Yeah.
Depending on the season, because during the NBA season, there is a lot of travel, and I'm committed to just a few guys,
Okay.
But then there's my other trainers, my cousin Fred Campbell.
Right.
And Mike Ratchet. Those guys still train other players in Dallas while I'm gone. So it's a team effort. Those guys do a great job.
So during the NBA season, what are you doing? So what guys are your main guys that you would travel around and work with during the season?
It's multiple guys. I mean, it's a good list, but ultimately it's a lot of film breakdown.
Okay.
A lot of communication in terms of I like to plant seeds before games.
Right. Me too.
What I mean by, just send them a text message, just keeping them aware of their personal goals. Well, if them performing well, that's going to turn into a victory for the team, hopefully. And it's not just about scoring. There's other goals you got to hit, rebounding or what have you.
So you travel around, and the clubs how are the NBA teams? How are they handling this new influx of trainers and always being around and having such a profound influence on their players? What's the relationship like?
There's definitely communication. You don't want to be teaching something that goes against what the coach wants them to do. Going against the role on the team. But for me, I always keep everything universal. I don't really watch too many play sets. I'll tailor some workouts to the actual. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
To the schemes,
yeah,
or
to
whatever
the schemes, to the plays, yeah. But to me, I want them to generally know how to play basketball.
Yeah. Because
any good defense could disrupt your rhythm on offense. You know that.
Yeah.
And you still have to be crafty. You still have to, maintain that level of IQ and make plays if you have the ball in your hands or without the ball. And I stick to those teachings, basic concepts within any offense.
I always talk about the universality of my coaching. I tell my younger players, I want you to be able to go anywhere in the world when the time comes I could just pick you up and drop you in a program and you could adjust.
Yep. Man,
You know the game.
I had a middle school coach in 8th grade, and it changed my whole thought process. He always used to talk about, you have to be three-dimensional. You have to be three-dimensional. So at that time, when I was in 8th grade, we was working on everything, and I was a big man.
Right.
So I was working on footwork, ball handling, a little bit of everything.
Yep.
And I was three-dimensional, but I've also played both ends. So, you know, in high school, you know, I was kind of wasn't a great defender, I should say, but I could get buckets.
Yeah.
So.
And how often do you get to see the guys? It seems like the NBA guys like to go in bursts in the off season.
Yeah.
So they'll come in, hit it real hard for what, a week or two, and then go off and do the next thing?
Not the guys I've worked with. It's a year-round commitment. And
right.
Everybody's trying to gain that edge. And you have a lot of great trainers out there, especially on the physical side, the strength and conditioning. You know, guys like David Alexander in Miami.
Yeah. One
of the best out there, man. Like, he does a great job working with his pros and keeping guys, you know, their flexibility intact, injury prevention, all those things. So there's a huge science out here in the States too when it comes to all that stuff.
Yeah. One of my former teammates is Phil Handy. I told you about that.
That's my guy.
Phil and I played together in 2001, 2002, and we made the championship series out here in Australia and got knocked off in game 3 and didn't get the chip.
Man.
So obviously I stay in touch with Phil. Phil was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, but I want to try and get next year, once all this clears up, I'd love to have, like, get you down here, get Phil down here, and have just a national basketball extravaganza where we get everybody in here, fly them all into Brisbane, into Southeast Queensland, from all over Australia, and just go for it. You know, have a strong 3 or 4 day camp. That would be nice.
Nah, man, that would be beautiful. You know, that's definitely coming to Australia is on my bucket list, man. I've been trying to speak that into existence for a long time, and you know, I'm a huge fan. Always have been, always will be of Phil Handy.
Yeah,
a mentor of mine, and you know, Phil, he's big on sharing knowledge, and you know that he's just genuine in his approach. That's why he's had so much success, is because his unique ability to connect with people. You know, working with Kyrie, LeBron, Kobe. To me, that's what makes him the GOAT.
Yeah,
it's just because of who he is as a person. You know,
and built that thing from, you know, just out with some high school kids up in the Bay Area.
Yeah, Phil got a story, man. Like we all do. You know, that's why. For me, I'm just looking into the future, and I'm just grateful. Just like I know you are. Same thing with Phil and so many other trainers. It's a blessing to be able to connect with people and live our dream. It's amazing.
That's kind of one of the hard parts right now, is the lack of human interaction. Like my Derek Rucker basketball community has been disbanded. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I miss the interaction with the parents and the kids and the brothers and the sisters. And it's just a whole, like, you know, what I built is quite expansive. You know, it reaches a lot of people. And to have that stripped out, like it, you know, some days it's rough, you know, you miss the people.
Yeah. No, it definitely, you create a community of your own personal family, so to speak, an extension of your family. You know, and there's a lot of heartfelt moments, a lot of accomplishments. You know, you've seen a lot of players that you work with, you know, develop and reach their goals. It's really fulfilling, you know, to see that. And
there's a young player I want you to keep your eye out for from Brisbane here. I work with him. His name is Mojave King. He's 18 now. He has signed with the Cairns Taipans. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the National Basketball League. The National Basketball League here has 9 teams. So he's just signed with Cairns, and their head coach is an American, former American named Mike Kelly.
Okay.
but the kid Mo King can play.
Yeah. I'm
Uh,
sure we'll definitely be hearing about him this season.
yeah, so Draft Express kind of has him mid-first rounder.
Okay.
But so it's not this year, it's not this draft, but the one after. But he has he's going to get that advantage like LaMelo and RJ did of playing against grown-ass men, pros,
Yeah.
dudes who are making their living from the game. It means something, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, no, it's the international game has definitely changed. You got a lot of these players coming from overseas, developed from a physical standpoint, from a skill set, and also from a mentality. They're able to carry teams, just like you Luka Doncic's of the world. They're able to come in the league and have success because they're mature.
Now, the funny story, Tim, is that Mo's father and I were AAU teammates coming out of Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Small world.
So his dad had a long career in New Zealand, and his mother played too. So he's got the DNA, and he's got elite level. He's got not rest of the world athleticism. He's got American athleticism. He can go up and climb.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm looking forward to getting back in the gym with him and a whole bunch of other ones. Like I had some of my female players. They were supposed to be coming down to the Final Four for the NBA Global Academy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's big for an American kid, but it's enormous. I can't even describe how big it is from an Australian kid's point of view.
Yeah, no, there's definitely opportunity out there, man. Especially with FIBA and all that stuff. Once things get back to normal, it'll be interesting to see who's really taking time to develop.
Right.
But, so we'll see who's been in shape and who hasn't, and
That's true as hell. So what do you got planned for this coming NBA season? I don't think they're going to come out of this. Do you think they're going to play again?
I do.
Really?
I
You think
do.
they'll finish this season?
Yeah, at some point. I mean, I don't know how all this is going to turn out, but at some point, the reality is we're going to have to face reality. So even if it's not this year, going into next year, I mean, it's not going to be, I don't think it'll get back to normal. There's going to be a lot of different precautions taken before the season actually starts back, but I think it'll come back.
And I think the NFL is pretty safe.
Yeah. Because
of the time.
Yep. I do agree with that. And if they do get pushed back, maybe September, late September, early October, somewhere in there.
Yo, but can I ask you this? How is your confidence going to be mingling with other people? Like in a big stadium situation. For our regular jobs, it's not a big deal. I was doing social distancing in my sessions anyway, so it wasn't that big a deal. But it's just going out to a basketball game, going to a high school game in a small gym where there's a lot of people, man. Like, how long? Like, how do you feel? When do you think you would be ready to go?
Man, to me, it's just about being smart. Not trying to overdo everything and get greedy. You got to ease into this. You got to be very careful. This thing is very serious. But at the same time, I don't choose to live my life in fear, and I think it's very important though, doing what we do, we have to be very aware of what we're doing personally in our lives if we do start interacting with other clients, because we don't want to affect their livelihood either. You know what I mean? So it is very sensitive. But at the same time, you just, you got to keep your mind right, not try to stress out about it.
Yeah.
And try to educate yourself. Get educated on what's really going on out here.
Yeah.
So you can make sure that you treating the safety part of your business right.
And one last thing, how did you come into the way of Wade? How did your relationship commence with D Wade?
So I used to do basketball camps in China.
Yes.
And I went out there with a good friend of mine, Tyler Ralph, and just started networking and meeting people. And at that time, we was already traveling throughout China, and had met a few good people, and there's an opportunity to work with the brand, and that's how it happened.
So what was your role with them?
For Wei,
Yeah.
just like a consultant in terms of just, with the grassroots programs, just trying to help build the brand, so to speak.
Yeah. And where was that based? So is that all over the United States, or what is the Way of Wade exactly?
The Way Wade is Dwayne's sporting clothing line company, shoe apparel, all that. So they're affiliated with Li Ning.
Yes.
And it's based in Beijing, China.
Right. Li Ning, what are those shoes like?
The best. I'm not
Really?
lying, man. I don't own any Nikes. I'm straight Li Ning, Way Wade. Great quality.
Seriously?
We got some fire stuff, man. Y'all got to check it out. waywade.com. You could check it out on social media. We just recently did a collaboration with Rick Ross. And so we're moving in the right direction, man. The takeover.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because apparently now, so one of the Australian players, one of the all-time Australian greats, Andrew Gaze, he has a great relationship with China, and he's re-releasing the Gaze shoe here in Australia. And he was like, yo, Derek, the technology is so much better now. Like the old knockoffs you used to get back in the day is totally different. Those shoes were sorry. He's like, yo, yeah. Nowadays they're dope.
Hey, I'm telling you, like there's no more knockoffs. I mean, there's always knockoffs everywhere you go, but
right.
Our quality overall as a company it's A1. We've done New York Fashion Week. We've done it in Paris. Great reviews. I mean, even our apparel line is something that's very unique. Not Nike or no other competitors really selling what we sell, and I'm proud to be a part of that team.
So who's wearing them in the NBA?
I'm sorry, hold on.
Yeah.
We had a Teddy Riley moment. Hold on 1 second.
No problem.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I think it's about to die.
Uh-oh. Looks like his phone died. Yeah, it's interesting to hear that China is starting to lift their game in terms of technology with the basketball shoes. Like I said before, my man Andrew Gaze has a new shoe coming out, hopefully in July. Obviously, there might be some delays due to COVID. We'll see if Tim comes back. I want to finish up this interview. Great story, and really good to hear about, the progress that can be made if you stick to what you believe in, and how quickly it can be done in time. Let's see here if he comes back. If he doesn't come back, this could be the end of the episode. So very appreciative of the time Tim has taken. Very, very informative. Here we go. There we go. All right, he's back. All right.
Yeah, my bad, man. My phone literally was like on 1%. I had to run. Then the headphones went out, so that was my Teddy Riley moment for the day.
Yo, those DJ battles have been pretty good, right?
Yeah, man. It's been fun watching it, man. There's a guy, Elite Media Concepts. Y'all should check him out. He originally from Jamaica. I've been watching a lot of his stuff too. He does a great job. Really good DJ.
Who did I hear that they were trying to get the other day? Damn, it was going to be a blockbuster if they got it. Was it Diddy and Dre?
Something like that. There's a lot of good ones out there, man.
Woo! Like, I love the other day, I watched Premier and RZA, and that was ridiculous.
I missed that one. That was a good one.
Oh, very, very, very good. But I would love to hear Diddy versus Dre.
Yeah, that'd be a Titan battle right there. That's two of the goats, man.
So who's your what's your music? I've been having this debate like all COVID with one of my close friends. We've been having this little Twitter battle about Kanye and Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
What side
the
would
debate?
I think overall Kanye has better content.
In what way though? Because you push it now. Hold on, and I'm a Kanye fan, just for the record.
So I put it in basketball terms. I had Kanye winning the game 95-88.
I don't know about that one, man. There's levels to this now. Now, hey, Kanye is to me one of the greatest visionaries of our time. Jay-Z is too, though. He's just not as flamboyant. They're both pioneers of what they've done. They've done a great job, you know. But I mean, Jay-Z still he's at the top.
And look, for me and you, because you have to do it to be good at what you do. You have to be very objective. And I know people are like the average person isn't going to be able to eliminate all the Kanye extra stuff. And now people are having a tough time with Jay-Z and the NFL. I'm only caring about the straight music. That's all I care about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I feel Kanye's stuff is better. I think Kanye's best 3 songs outdo any of Jay-Z's best 3.
That's a bold statement, man. Hey, that's a bold statement. Watch out. Hey, people gonna be in your DMs after that. That's a bold statement.
But
now,
so I said, sorry. Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, now when you talk about making music, I don't think you can compare Jay-Z's. He's very musically inclined, but Kanye's a maestro. He's pushed music from techno to rock. He's pushed music and the culture forward. No question.
Yes. So yesterday I was listening to My Dark, Beautiful, Twisted, all that. And So Appalled came on.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay-Z wrecked it in that. Jay-Z crushed it. So I changed the score to 95-91 Kanye.
Hey, look, man, I'm not gonna argue about that because that's like this whole Jordan debate. You know what I mean? But Kanye, I give Kanye his props. 808 Heartbreak, that's one of the greatest albums of all time. That's in my top 5.
So it's funny because the first one, I'm a little bit older than you, but the first debate like this in music that I remember coming up in the 80s was MJ v. Prince.
MJ. You can't, you like Prince?
Dude, I can see people's Prince. I can see the Prince perspective. Like this dude put out so much music, and on 2 of his albums, he did everything.
Yeah, look. I think it actually does a disservice when you compare greats like that. You know what I mean?
I know.
But we're in that competitive environment as a culture. We always got to compare. But
sometimes it's not even. Sometimes you don't even need to reach a decision. It's good just to have the information and discuss the different. You know what I'm saying?
Very true. Very true.
MJ, child prodigy. You know,
mm-hmm.
To be able to sing some of those songs with the feeling he did at like 10, 11 years old, man.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't have a normal life, you know, but I'll tell you this, Prince could hoop. I've heard some things about Prince.
No.
Like
his little ass wouldn't score on me.
Prince he played high school ball. And I've heard stories now. Like that whole Dave Chappelle thing, that's not a joke. Like that's serious.
Really?
But like he played ball like back in the day. He was just small, but he had game from what I've heard.
Yeah, because he's only like 5'3".
Yeah. But you know, back then it was a little different. You know, you still had smaller players back then, you know, in the 70s, early 80s. So.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna let you get up out of here. I'm definitely gonna try and get you out here, though. I want to try. It's gonna be hard, obviously, but I want to get it done. Like that would be something special for down here to have, guys of your magnitude and Phil and probably a couple of others, just do a big basketball summit and development camp. It would be something else.
Well, man, it would be an honor, and I appreciate you just reaching out and having me, on your IG Live, man. It's always good to catch up and, interact, especially you being in Australia. What time is it out there now?
It's 12:53 p.m. Sunday.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you see over here, it's like 10 o'clock at night where I'm at. So
this is Brisbane. That's
a nice view.
Yeah.
Very nice view.
I live in the city. It's it's a nice place. It's very, very pleasant.
Yeah.
So man, be good, stay safe, and let's stay in touch, and we'll get some things going.
Man, sounds good. You take care. Have a good weekend, brother.
You too. See you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you for listening in. That was Tim Martin. Great to talk to him. And first chance I've actually got to meet him. So a lot of fun talking about life, talking about hoops. It was all good. And that's it. I'll be back later in the week. Thanks for listening. Follow Tim Martin Basketball on Twitter. Follow him on IG, everywhere. The Beautiful Struggle. Check it all out. Great guy, great story, and very talented at what he does. I'll check you out later in the week for the next episode. Be good.